If you've seen Roast Battle on Comedy Central and thought those comedians were too mean or took a joke too far, then you ain't heard nothing yet. Now join Brian Moses and DJ Coach T for Roast Battle the podcast as they bring you weekly shows and interviews from the world famous Comedy Store in Hollywood, California. Now listen to Roast Battle for the most decisive jokes and healing interviews every Thursday in your podcast feed. Subscribe now and leave a joke of your own when you rate and review. What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy.
And I am Gia Casey.
And this is another edition of the KC Crew.
Welcome.
Yes, and happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to everybody out there.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Right, so...
No. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, whatever. What the hell does that mean?
Being thankful for life.
Oh, okay. I thought there was maybe a new term that I just didn't know about. Happy Thanksgiving. I was like, what the fuck is that? We living in the club, we litty, like what the fuck is that?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving, I guess.
Yes.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say happy Thanksgiving again, and shout out to everybody. I think we did like 3-4 turkey drives.
Yes.
We did 2 in Patterson and 1 in Newark. And I know a lot of times we don't really post, and a lot of people don't post all the things that they do sometimes to give back. And even Gia has told me we have to post it more. And the reason she says we should post it more is because sometimes people might forget about doing something positive.
Yes.
And that could be a positive reinforcement of just, hey, oh, is that what you're doing? I can do that in my community.
Yes.
Or I can help out in my community. So
it might serve as a little bit of inspiration for someone else to want to give back as well. And giving back doesn't have to be this whole grand thing, because during this time of year, so many people are struggling. So a lot of people don't have a lot to give because they're trying to make it happen for their own family, and that's understandable. But my point is, even if you can give in a little way, like if you know someone or someone that knows someone that you know, they might just need a little something or a little help, like maybe a turkey or maybe just money for groceries, or, you know, their kids might need a little something, or maybe you can help out with a gift or two for Christmas. It may not have to hit you that hard financially to make a huge impact in someone else's life. So don't think that, you know, giving back means that you really have to dig deep and you really don't have it. Just maybe just something small, if you can, for the holiday season to make a gesture towards somebody else can be immeasurable. Absolutely.
And, you know, we did, like I said, we did 3 turkey drives, and the last turkey drive that we did, which was yesterday, was probably one of the most amazing ones. Now, this one I was the most involved in. Shout to Caesar, who I have, you know, businesses with, Flipping NJ. We flip houses together and rentals. So we did this one in Patterson, and people said, well, why Patterson? Why not Queens? Truthfully, I'm so far gone from Queens. I still love Queens, but I do so much business in New Jersey and make so much money in New Jersey. I always feel like if you make money in a particular area, it's always best to give back in that area, whether it's shopping, whether it's giving back like this. So we did a turkey drive.
Yeah, like supporting businesses. And
absolutely. So we did a turkey drive in Patterson, New Jersey, and we invited everybody that we knew that lived in the area or that was from the area. So Fat Boy SSC came. Justina Valentine, she's from Wildin' Out, she came. Teresa Judice, who's from the area, she came.
Right, she's from Patterson.
She's from Patterson.
Yes.
Also, what was the other lady's name from Housewives?
Dolores Catania.
Dolores
from Real Housewives of New Jersey.
She's from there as well.
Yes.
Her brother is a police officer there, and her somebody else there. Her kids went to school there. She went to school there. So they all came and helped us give away turkeys, and we just gave away turkeys. Whoever needed it, we just gave away turkeys, and no big business supported. Like this wasn't like ShopRite donated. No, we paid out of our pocket to get turkeys, to get them delivered, whatever, which was a great feeling. But all the turkeys we gave away meant nothing. Like that was light work for me. That's what I think.
Well, it didn't mean anything. I know where you're going, but of course it meant something.
Right.
You know, it's helping to feed people for Thanksgiving. So it meant a lot.
Right.
But it didn't mean as much as something else that happened, right?
Right. So I was talking, what's the lady's name from Housewives? I know I'm so bad.
Who, Dolores?
Dolores.
Yes.
Dolores is my mother's middle name. Dolores. I'll never forget it. So I was talking
until you ask me again in 10 minutes what's her name.
But that's how I always remember things. I put it with something else and I'll never forget.
Yes.
Dolores is my mother's middle name, so I'll never forget her name ever again.
Okay.
So I was talking to Dolores and she was just like, I appreciate you guys for doing this for Patterson. And she was telling me who her brother was, and her brother's a police officer. And if you need anything or if there's ever a problem, just, give her a call. If she can help in Patterson, she'll call. And then she was telling me about another family that was there and was there a long time.
Yes.
And the lady who had a tragic story, she lived in Newark. And she was just divorced. And I guess the divorce and her ex-husband, things weren't right. I don't know if she was being battered, if she was being abused, but it wasn't right. And she was felt like she was kind of on the run, like away from him. So she got this apartment in Newark and she was working. Something happened and the apartment caught on fire.
Right.
All her stuff was ruined from the fire or ruined from the water because they had to hose the house down.
Right.
She had no renter's insurance. So she lost everything.
It was a complete loss for her.
And then I guess the person that owned the house, the owner, the landlord, he had no insurance. So she totally lost everything.
Right.
Now she was scared and she was kind of petrified because she didn't know why the house caught on fire. She didn't know maybe if her ex-husband found out where she lived. She didn't know if somebody didn't like her. So she just picked up and left and she moved to Patterson. When she moved to Patterson, she got to Patterson. She found a home. Her rent is $1,300 because I sat down with her and I talked to her. Like I really wanted to know the story, what was going on.
Right.
Her rent was $1,300. Now she works at a gas station. So she's a clerk at a gas station. She's an older, I wouldn't say older. She's about young. She's about 32, 33. I look like. She has 3 kids. One kid looked like he was 16. One looked 8. One looked 9. I really don't know. One kid was taller than me. Like he was tall as hell.
But she looked young.
But she looked young. Yeah. And she just lost her job. So she had nothing. So she was really coming to get a turkey and just to feel good energy. She follows us on Instagram and just wanted good energy. And she wasn't asking for nothing. She didn't ask. Like, it's not like she was sitting there and was like, I want this. No, she didn't ask.
She actually went out of her way not to ask.
Absolutely.
Right.
And Dolores said something to me that you always said. And she was saying you can tell how good a person is by talking to their kids.
Something like that.
Something to that effect. So talking to their kids, the kids.
You can tell a lot about a person
from their kids
by the behavior of their children.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So their kids came up to me, asked for a picture, so polite. Like, hi, would you mind if I take a picture? Thank you so very much. I listen to you every day on the radio. You guys, like, very nice, respectful. There was a line of people. They, waited online, was just very nice. So, I pulled her to the side. I started talking. I asked her about her story. She told me that she just lost her job. And, so I was like, for Christmas, tell me your kids' sizes and I will take care of whatever your kids want for Christmas, clothes, because they didn't have clothes. They lost everything. I said, I'll take care of it. And she was like, no. She's like, I didn't come here for that. And I said, I don't care why you came here. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. So she started crying. And she was like, that's not why I came. She was like, I really came just to get, I said, I don't care. I said, hopefully I can help you and you could get back on your feet. And then somebody else that you see, maybe you can help them. Maybe not in the same capacity, but maybe it could be something small.
The good energy can inspire something else good, regardless of what it is.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I called my property manager over, who manages all my properties and some of my curbs. And I told him the story. And he was like, you know what? He was like, how much do you pay? And she was like, I paid $13. He was like, you know what? I'm going to find you an apartment and you're going to stay there for a year free.
Yep.
And she was like, no. And he was like, don't tell me no. He's like, matter of fact, he pulled out $300 out of his pocket and was like, I'm going to give you $300 right now to make sure you have a good Thanksgiving, that you have food and everything. And remember, because her kids lost everything.
Right.
And he was like
lost their coats.
Right. He was like, you call me tomorrow and we're going to find you an apartment. He was like, do you have furniture? She was like, I have a couple of pieces. We're going to make sure you have furniture.
Yes.
And it meant a lot. It really did. Me thinking about it, I'm tearing up right now. But So I told her, I said, text me your sizes. So she texted me the sizes and everything. And it just felt good because she was a good person. And then when she left, her kids came up to me and was like, thank you so much. And gave me a hug and all that. It just felt good. And a part that I left out was her kids were kind of getting bullied. And they were getting bullied because they just left school in Newark and transferred to Patterson where they knew nobody.
Right.
And not only did they know nobody, remember, they didn't have clothes.
Right.
So they were probably wearing the same clothes every other day. So I was like, look, we're going to make sure they're good. I'm going to call her today and I'm going to take her to Civilized Nation in Patterson. Shout to them. We're going to get them some clothes. But I was like, look, I told the son, I was like, yo, if you get bullied again and you need me to pull up in one of these schools, I said, I will bring my Ferrari out. I'll bring Fat Boy. I'll bring Fetty Wap. I'll bring everybody from Patterson that I know, and we're going to pull up in your school and make sure that everybody knows you with us. And he was just so happy. He was like, really? He was like, he was just so grateful. And that's what it was about. It wasn't about the turkeys. It was about touching that one family and hopefully changing that one family's life. That's what made me feel good.
Yes. I know.
So shout to her. I know today I'm going to go see her and, meet up with them at Civilized Nation and make sure her kids have clothes and everything. But that's what Thanksgiving's all about for me. And that's what
just
the
holidays all together. You do something good and someone else might see it and it might just rub off a little.
Absolutely.
And it's like you can pay it forward. You can actually pay it forward, or you can pay it forward by inspiring others to do something similar.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So happy Thanksgiving. And if you're out there, if you could help a family out or somebody, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be, I'm going to buy somebody a $20 turkey, or I'm going to buy somebody a can of goods, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Just, hopefully you can and just help somebody out, because you never know what somebody's going through, and that can encourage somebody to possibly do it for somebody else.
But a lot of times we know what people are going through and we don't do anything.
Right.
And that's the sad part, where you're able, but you just turn a blind eye because it's easier.
Right. Support for today's show also comes from Poshmark. Instead of buying new things, head to Poshmark to shop for millions of closets across America. Now, Poshmark is the easiest way to buy and sell fashion items. Download the free Poshmark app to shop from tons of brands across women's, kids, and men's. You won't believe the deals you'll find, like Louis Vuitton bags for $300. Now, Christmas is right around the corner. You can buy cool, dope gifts and not spend that much money. Today, you can get $5 off your first purchase when you enter the invite code KC Crew when you sign up. Just download the Poshmark app, sign up, and enter the code KC Crew for $5 off your first purchase. Now, I want to fast forward a little bit. And this is going to be crazy because we're going to go from one extreme to the next extreme. But I don't care. There's no segues when it comes here. Happy birthday to my baby girl, my firstborn, my best friend.
Oh, she's your best friend now?
Yeah, you got more than one best friend.
No, you said my best friend.
She's
said
my
that.
best friend.
There was no plural, like she's one of my best friends.
Well, she is.
I'm just playing cat, baby.
My baby girl, Madison. Madison just turned 17. And I mean, if you follow us on Instagram or you follow us, you know how close we are with our kids. Especially with Madison. I just think as a teenager, you just need to be close just to make sure that you're on top of them and you know what they're doing and they're being open and honest with you. And that baby has been with us and I love her to death. So, she was going through her learning how to drive. And she had to take her driving test and she was so nervous, and we went out there and we did everything, we practiced. So she passed the driving test. So congratulations. And we surprised her with a car. And I know we briefly talked about it last time, but we posted the video recently. So it's a long, you can see exactly what it was. So for people who are just joining us, maybe didn't hear the last episode, I'll explain it briefly. Madison wanted, her dream car was a Range Rover Evoque. Or Velar.
She would have been happy with an Evoque or a Velar. They're similar, which is the smaller Land Rover. It's smaller in size. It's more compact. That's what she really, really wanted. That was her dream car. That's what she had her eyes focused on. Of course, she liked other cars, but she liked that. I made a joke and I told Madison, because she goes to a private school now, that daddy wasn't paying for it. Mommy and daddy weren't paying for it, that she was going to get a used Jeep Used Wrangler.
Yeah, used Wrangler with like 80,000 miles on it, and that we would hook it up. I just wanted to see what she would say, you know, how she would feel, what she would do if she would kick the tires and be like, "Fuck them," you know what I mean? My parents got it.
No, you knew she wouldn't.
I know, but
react
still,
that way.
Still, you want to see. So, you know, what I did was shout to my friend Sterling, who owns a Jeep. So I borrowed his Jeep.
Well, before you say that, when we told her that she was going to be getting a pre-owned car, and it was because she was going to a private school now and that we had to incur that expense.
Correct.
She said, you know what? That's okay because my education comes first. So
Absolutely.
if I had a choice, knowing this, I would have chosen to go to my new school anyway.
Absolutely.
So that's okay.
Absolutely.
And that made me want to do the world for her because she just has her head screwed on so straight. And at this age, and at that point, you know, she hadn't even turned 17 yet. She was prioritizing what is important
Correct.
in life. And at this age, that right now is her education.
Absolutely.
And she knew that. Like we didn't have to sit down and explain that to her.
Correct.
Like she just intuitively knew that.
Absolutely. So, you know, at first we, you know, I borrowed the Wrangler from my friend and we parked it in front of the house and we had, you know, balloons and a ribbon on it. And so when she pulled up from school, she seen it and, you know, she hugged us. She was so happy, so excited. I said, let's go for a test drive. She hopped in. We went for a test drive. We went around the block and I had the Land Rover here, 2 Land Rovers. I had the Velar and we had the Range Rover.
Well, the Velar is a Range Rover. So the company, I don't even think you understand as many Range Rovers. The company is Range Rover.
Excuse
me. The company is Land Rover.
Correct.
And Land Rover makes Range Rover.
They make
and there are different versions of Range Rover. So Range Rover has an Evoque. It has a Velar. It has a Range Rover Sport. It has the Range Rover HS and the Range Rover HSE. So there are different models of Range Rover.
Correct. So we had 2. We had the Velar, which is the smaller one, and we had the Range Rover hidden in the garage. So when she pulled up, she seen the Jeep. She was excited. We took the Jeep for a test drive. And then when she got back in the house, we had...
Got back to the house.
We had the Velar waiting.
Right.
She seen that, broke down, started crying. I said, baby, let's take this for a test drive. So then we get in the Velar and take off.
But she was hysterical. You know, we couldn't really show it all in the video because you only have 60 seconds, but she was hysterical when she saw that Velar because she really thought that there was no chance. I mean, we have been drilling it into her head that she was getting a used Wrangler for 3 months.
Right.
For 3 months, we're like, oh, well, what color interior? You even called the dealership with her in the car one day to pretend that, you know, you were asking questions about the car. You told you put the deposit on it. It was crazy. Like we really were committed to this psych out.
Absolutely. And so she got the Velar, was crying, then took the Velar for a test drive. And on the way back, she's driving. She was like, Dad, she was like, imagine if we get back to the house and there's a Bugatti in the front. Just joking. I was like, well, if there's a Bugatti in the front, it's mine.
Right.
She was like, you guys are so crazy. I'm so happy. She was like, I'm so grateful. Then she gets,
thank you.
When she gets in that gate and she sees that Range Rover, I thought we were going to drive off the cliff.
You and me both.
She was so grateful and so thankful, and she's such an amazing kid, and I love her so much. She just shows nothing but gratitude. Whatever we need in this house, she does and helps out as much as possible. She has straight A's. She is a good freaking kid. I love her.
She stopped the car and sat in the car. Well, first of all, she legitimately thought it was a joke. Right. She thought, well, the Velar is mine. They brought a Range over here just to be like, nah, we're just kidding. The Velar. She really thought that it was a joke. And she's like, no way. Like, no, it's not possible. And even when she sat there in the car for 3 minutes crying before she even got out to look at it.
Absolutely.
So then she finally gets out, and as she's walking to it, she's like, this is a joke. Like, this can't be real. And then she gets in the car and she just broke down again. And then you were crying.
I was crying.
Yeah, you were crying. And
Yeah.
then I got in the car, just like hugs. And she was like, I feel like I'm dreaming, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was wonderful. That was wonderful. You know, in this world, and I wrote this in my caption, just as parents, all we want is to be good parents.
Absolutely.
And we want to make sure that our children are first and foremost healthy. And following behind that, we want to make sure that they're happy.
Absolutely.
Happiness comes in different forms. And we find different ways to make our kids happy, you know? And with us, the smallest things make our kids happy. You know, last night I was up cleaning and organizing, kind of doing like a winter cleaning before Thanksgiving. And Madison, you know, she doesn't have school today. She comes in our room and like she's cuddling with you in the bed, you know, while I'm cleaning. And I'm looking at her and I'm looking at you and I'm just like, oh man, this is happiness, you know? And she's cuddling with you and she's sleeping, but she's smiling while she's sleeping. And I'm just like, oh, this is happiness.
Absolutely.
You know? Happiness comes in different forms, from teeny tiny little things that warm your heart to bigger things that might take a little bit more effort. And it doesn't matter how you go about attaining that happiness, just as long as we make sure that we secure our family's happiness.
Absolutely.
You know? And that day was just another happy day for us.
It was a happy day. And you know, the reason I'm bringing it up is I didn't even tell you this, so you're gonna be hit blindsided. You know, we posted the video, and I posted the video because we share everything about our life, good, bad, ugly, nasty. You guys know that. But you know, there was some people that felt that she shouldn't get a Range Rover as her first car, and there was family members that felt like it was too expensive.
Oh, so that's where we're going.
Yes.
Okay.
And, you know, I didn't even tell you, but I had a conversation with my manager and a friend of mine, Coke, in June about it. And, you know, one was on the fence and one was like, I get it, this, that, and the other. So the conversation was...
I think I know which one was which.
We had family members... No, you're actually wrong.
Really?
Yeah. We had family members that thought that a Range Rover for a 17-year-old was too much. And... you know, well, what does the kid look forward to? And, you know, it's too much for their first car and this, that, and the other, yada, yada, yada. And I was very mad. And I'm going to tell you why I was mad.
I mean, I was very mad too.
And first of all...
because it actually was an argument.
Right. No, it was an argument.
Yeah.
But the reason I was upset, and, you know, even I look at the comments, like if there's 1,000 comments, there might be 10 or 20 that be like, oh, it's too much. It's too much. I
didn't even think it was that many. I think it might have been 10.
But this is how I look at it. I look at it like Madison's father works his ass off. I'm serious. I work my ass off.
You're just not going to talk in the first person, huh?
No, I'm going to talk in third person. I work my ass off. Right. I work my ass off to provide for my kids. And if I can provide for my kids, I'm going to provide for my kids. People say, well, what's next? A Bugatti? You know what? If I was a billionaire and I wanted to buy my daughter a Bugatti, yes, I would buy her a Bugatti. It is what it is. That doesn't make her less of a person. That doesn't make it. People say, well, she has to learn to appreciate money and learn to my kids appreciate more than I do.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that most people don't know. Like,
it's not about the thing. It's about what you teach them.
Absolutely.
And how you raise them.
Absolutely. I have a son, right? Oh, we have a son.
I was just about to say it. I think I know where you're going.
We have a son, and his name is Logan. And Logan spends our money like he is homeless, living in the worst
He's the
area
most frugal
ever
kid on the planet.
In the planet. Like, if I buy Logan a pair of sneakers, the first thing out of his mouth is not, thanks, Dad, is how much did they cost?
Yeah.
And then when I tell him, I'm like, no, don't worry about it. No, I'm just curious. How much did they cost? Because you can actually bring that back and get me 2 pairs of this. Like, right. That's how it is.
He's been like that since he was little. I remember him being like 8 and 9 years old. And we could buy, say, a car, or, you know, you can come home with an expensive jacket for yourself or a pair of shoes for me or something like that. And at 7, 8, 9, he would inquire about it,
right,
and say, Mom, are you sure that we can afford it? Well, how much does Daddy make a year?
Right.
And, you know, like, are you making sure that the things that you buy us and buy for the family, that they're smart purchase? Like, he has always been like that. For instance, now Logan goes to a Catholic school.
Correct.
So he wears a uniform every day.
Right.
So we're getting prepared for Christmas. So I said to him about maybe 5 or 6 days ago, I said, so Logan, what do you want for Christmas? He was like, nothing, Mom. And I said, nothing at all. There's nothing that you want. He said, well, you know, I'm not really into that much. And I said, well, what about clothes? He was like, I said, but last year you were so into Supreme and, you know, Bape and all of that stuff. He was like, yeah, but I go to Catholic school now, wear a uniform, so I can't wear it. So I don't want that.
Right. And that's,
I'm like, I went to Catholic school my whole life. We went to Catholic school, and let my mom come to me and be like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like,
right.
I want this. I want this. I want this. Forget about, I'll wear it on the weekend.
right.
I'll wear it on Friday after school. He's like, no. He's like, you know, you can just save that money and put it towards, you know, one of my brothers or sisters that, you know, probably, you know, have a laundry list of things that they want.
Right.
And I'm like, you legit don't want anything? He's like, well, the Giants aren't doing too well. So, you know, I don't really want
to go to games.
I don't really want to go to the games.
I watch the games at home with Dad.
Exactly.
But that,
I'm like, wow. He told me take his Christmas money and spend it on his brothers and sisters.
right. But what I'm trying to tell you is that's because we show them what we do, and they understand how hard Daddy works and how hard Mommy works.
Mm-hmm.
You see, even with Madison, it's like I take them to the houses that we flip in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
They see how hard it is and how difficult it is. They see
out there
me working, me sleeping for 3-4 hours, getting up and continuing to go. So they understand and they respect
They
it.
understand the hustle, and they know that money isn't growing on a tree or
Right.
falling out of the sky. They understand that it's blood, sweat, tears, and lack of sleep that is providing for them.
Absolutely.
They don't take it for granted.
They don't take it for granted.
Not one bit.
So when we got into the when you got into the argument with my family about it, it really bothered me because I was like, I felt like they weren't happy.
They weren't.
And
You said you felt like it.
No, but that's what I
it's
feel
not even like a feeling, like they weren't.
But it bothered me because it's like, be happy. You know, you could have your opinion and be like, hey, do you think it's you know, it's a little too much for a new driver? And I'd be like, no, because first of all, I think she's a great driver. I feel very comfortable and safe with the car. And no.
Well,
That you can have your opinion, but when it's almost like it's a hating, not a congratulating, that's where the problem lies.
but that's where all of the problems lie. You know, I always respect people's opinions.
Correct.
I mean, I have opinions. Everybody has opinions, and those are to be respected. But when your opinions are deep rooted in hate or they come from a negative place, that is where I'll reject that opinion, because I wouldn't even put it in the category of opinion anymore. Now it's just a person spewing negativity because there's something wrong with them or in
Right.
their lives, and they're projecting it on you. An opinion, if someone doesn't think that a 17-year-old should have a car like that, that's fine. And
Right.
I actually even understand where they may be coming from.
Correct.
They may not really understand where we're coming from, but I can understand where they may be coming from. I can respect an opinion, but what we've been encountered with, I don't think is solely based on opinions. And to be honest with you, I was the one that initially decided that I wanted to get her that car. And the reason is because maybe 2 years ago.
No, it's longer than 2 years. At least we haven't had a Range Rover in at least 5-7 years.
That's not true.
Yes, we have.
No, because I got one for my, I think, 34th birthday. And we had that for a couple of years. And I am not 40.
Right, but that wasn't 2 years ago.
Okay, it might have been 3 years ago.
4 years ago.
I don't think it was 4 years ago.
Okay. I don't remember what. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. 2-3 years ago, it doesn't matter. I was on the George Washington Bridge, and I'm driving, and in front of me, within seconds, I saw brake lights piling up in front of me. literally only seconds notice for me to jam on my brakes to prevent hitting the car in front of me.
Okay.
So I jam on my brakes. I literally might have stopped 4 inches before the car in front of me's bumper.
Right.
Literally, my car even skid and slid a little bit. And as soon as my car came to a stop, I looked up in my rearview mirror because I just knew, I was waiting for the impact. I knew that the car behind me was going to hit me because there just wasn't enough reaction time. And I don't know why the first car stopped. I don't know what happened ahead, but I sat there and I braced myself, and then there came the impact. Boom! I was rear-ended.
Right.
Wasn't the person behind me's fault at all, but I was rear-ended. I just knew that my whole trunk was in my back seat.
Correct.
And his whole hood was in his front seat.
Right.
So I sat there for maybe 5 seconds, took off my seatbelt. I was fine. And I got out the car. When I walked around to the back of the car, he was in a caravan, not a caravan, just like a work van. His whole hood looked like an accordion. And literally, I couldn't even explain it. Like when I called you, I couldn't even explain it. But the back of my car had a broken light. There wasn't even a scratch, which I couldn't make sense of.
And it wasn't even a broken tail light. It was the
that little round
reflector light that's on the bottom of the bumper.
Yeah, the little round reflector light. I couldn't make sense of it. His car was ruined. And I didn't even see a scratch. Did you see a scratch when I brought the car home?
I think it was a little scratch. Yeah.
Maybe I didn't see a scratch when I was there, but a little broken reflector light. In that moment, and at the time, I guess Madison might have been 14.
Right.
I said to myself, when she's old enough to drive, if we are in a position, this is the car that she's going to get because I have experienced this car's safety.
Right.
And it has quick pickup, so you can get out of, compromising situations in seconds in a car like that. So for me, it was mostly about how safe the car is and how I felt like I was driving in a mini tank.
Right.
So I came home and I told you that, and you were like, man, get out of here. And then, we came to, be on the same page. But that's really what it was about. So while I was having this conversation with a family member, I said, it's really not about, having something that's expensive for my child, or because that's what the insinuation was.
Right. It was too expensive.
Like, I don't even really want to get into it because it was just negativity and I don't really want to get angry. But I said it's really more about the fact that, yes, it's a beautiful car. I've chosen to drive that myself because of its safety. And that's what I want to give to my daughter, because I want to know that when she leaves the house, she has the best chances of coming back in one piece every time that she walks out that door.
Absolutely. And
I don't think they really bought that, which upset me. So I'm going to leave it there.
Right. But I like you said, that's what there was there. And I felt like there was it was more of a, you don't agree with me, so I'm mad, opposed to, all right, well, we have a difference, whatever. But it made her happy, so whatever it was.
But that's the thing. During the argument, which I tried to keep as a conversation, the person that I was quote unquote arguing with was getting so upset. And that's how I knew it was deep rooted. I had to keep saying, why are you getting upset? Like, what is fueling this fire in you right now? We're having a conversation where we disagree. It's okay to disagree. Oh, I know it's okay to disagree. Okay. So then why are you exhibiting anger? Why are you I'm not upset. Oh, you're upset. Oh, no, I'm not upset. Oh, you're clearly upset. Oh, I'm not upset. No, you're very upset.
Right.
You are upset. Why are you so upset? So it just made me question where that was coming from, like the source of that.
Correct.
You're upset that a 7-year-old's getting a car.
Correct.
Let's analyze that. That's how I felt in that moment.
Right.
But, because I do have a choice, but in my mind, I have no choice but to be respectful. I just
that and
had to carry myself a certain way.
And I'll just say this, and then we'll move on. And not only that, when Madison got the car, nobody called and said congratulations. They did call in the morning and say happy birthday, but knowing she was getting that call later on, didn't call and say, congratulations, how's your car, this, that, and the other, which I thought was
Which
foul.
you expect from a family member.
Absolutely. But let's move on. And this portion of the podcast is brought to you by the detoxnow.com. Now, shout to my good old doctors and Jesse. Now, I know you remember I did the detox a couple of months ago, and it was a 30-day cleanse where I ate nothing but fruit. Now, I wasn't suffering. It wasn't difficult. It was actually
Why
good.
are you lying?
What?
It was difficult.
No, the detox was difficult.
Oh, okay.
But it was good for me.
Oh, it was excellent for you. I did it too.
Right,
Why
we
you
both
keep
did it.
nixing me out of these situations?
sorry, if you-
I was there with you with the fruit and the quinoa and the butternut squash.
That's right.
You forgot about me.
No, I did forget about you.
Okay.
Well-
So it was very beneficial.
It was very beneficial.
It was very beneficial.
Absolutely. It's prevents any serious conditions like cancer and others. It's kind of just resets the body. Now, if you don't know, I lost 24 pounds. But it just wasn't the weight loss. It was also just getting the toxins out my body.
Right.
I looked lean. I felt younger. I felt healthier. Putting that fruit and that good fruit in my body just felt good. Now, I'm going to get back on it.
You keep saying that.
No, I will. I keep starting and then I stop. Like every day I start and I'll.
You said every day.
No, it's like every day. It's like every day.
You
So,
have good intentions.
I definitely have good intentions, but I'll be like, I'm gonna do it. Nah, fuck that.
No, you really have to commit to it.
I know.
It's 30 days.
You know what is hard? It's difficult when you do it by yourself because I'll start and then you'll come home and then you'll have a plate of food and I'll be like, fuck that. I want some of this food. That's what happens all the
Then
time.
you got to restart again the
Then I
next
got to restart
day.
again the
Yep.
next day. So it is the season of giving, and our friends at the detoxnow.com are really part of our family. They listen all the time. So from today to Cyber Monday, enjoy 25% off.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you can sign up and receive the family and friends discount code at www.thedetoxnow.com. Whether you want to cure a condition, whether you want to lose some weight, whatever it may be, just head out to the
Giving
website.
your body a tune-up.
Right.
You know, like really getting the toxins out of your system is really what it's about.
Absolutely. So again, that's thedetoxnow.com. thedetoxnow.com. Check it out. Try it. They have 7-day detoxes. They have 14-day detoxes, and they have 30-day detoxes. It'll help you lose the weight. It'll help your body feel healthy.
No, it'll really help you lose the weight.
Absolutely.
Like we've experienced that firsthand, the both of us. You wanting to lose the weight, me not wanting to lose the weight, regardless, you had no choice but to lose the weight when you go through that detox. So if that's a goal of yours, aside from, detoxification, then this is something that you definitely may want to research and go to the website and look into, because it works, and like we can tell you that firsthand.
Absolutely. This week's episode is also brought to you by Ritual. Science tells us the first 28 days of pregnancy are the most important, but half of pregnancies are unplanned. That's why whether you're trying, not trying, just thinking about it, or already expecting, you've got to be ready with the critical nutrients you need with the Ritual Essential Prenatal Vitamin with DHA. Ritual is the prenatal vitamin reborn. Whether you're living life or creating it, why not add some good looking science into your daily routine? Visit ritual.com/KC Crew to start your ritual today. That's ritual.com/KC Crew. Now, we're about to have or trying to have another baby, and we're going to make sure that baby is healthy as ever. So definitely head over to the website. That's ritual.com/KC Crew. All right. Well, now let's get to the emails or DMs of the week. All right. Now, this person's name is Jillian. Dear Gia and Envy, first off, I want to apologize to Gia. I saw you last year at Hampton Homecoming after party and prejudged you, and my judgment was completely wrong. I'm not sure how I came across your Instagram that led me to your podcast, but I realize you are such a wonderful and articulate woman. I love how you rationalize and really break down situations in every email that is read, as well as your day-to-day activities. Anyway, I'm writing this email because I have been binge listening to your podcast, and I just came across the Mattress and Family Meeting podcast. It was Mattress?
Well, I don't remember what it was titled, but that might have been when we talked about what my first job was out of college, like slinging mattresses.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was so long ago, I don't even remember. And I realized that I am very similar to Envy. Never thought I would say that. Shut up. I am a single mother who works long hours, and like Envy, when I come home or pick up my child, the first thing I do is usually nag about something being out of place or something being broken or dirty. I don't really take the time to bond with my children or really even hear about their day. However, I do take the time to do fun things such as take her to play, an amusement park, buy new clothes, shoes, ice cream, etc. I think sometimes I do these things to try to compensate for how much time I spend away from her. I definitely admire listening to your podcast with Madison and Logan and adored how y'all all could have such an open and honest conversation. I don't know how to strengthen the bond between my daughter and I also think that something is going on with my daughter to cause her to act out at school. So I guess my question is, what do I do not to be the nagging, tired parent whose child won't take you seriously and be more attentive to what their needs really are? As well as what solutions do you have for children who are acting out? Thanks, Jillian.
Oh, I like that email.
Mm-hmm.
Can I go first?
Sure.
Not that I want to go first, but I just have a thought. The first thought that came to mind as you were reading that email is that, how do I put it? People don't necessarily, well, they remember. So I'm not going to use the word remember. They don't really emotionally prioritize what you do for them as much as how you make them feel.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, a lot of times when people cheat,
mm-hmm.
you'll hear that it's not that the person went out and bought them something or took them to the best restaurants. It can solely be because of how that person made them feel. They might have stroked their ego, paid them compliments, was affectionate to them. And I think that falls on the back of human nature. We respond to things that make us happy, that increase our endorphins and make us smile.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things, and that's tied into our feelings, our emotions. So when I'm listening to this email, what jumps out to me is you do a lot of things that, for instance, we do with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we take our kids to plays. We take them to events in New York City.
Oh, side note, I want to take them to Disney on Ice. That's coming in town this week.
I want to take them too. I was going to talk to you about that and ask you if you could get tickets. Okay. We take them to things like Disney on Ice.
Mm-hmm.
We did with Madison and Logan every year when they were younger. Now it's time for the babies. We take them to the movies. We take them on vacations. We take them to a lot of places. We spend time with them doing fun things.
Correct.
But that only taps into their feelings and emotions in a certain way. Like when I look back to my parents, I think about all the wonderful things that they did for me and all the beautiful things that they gave me. But when I think about the fact that my father passed, I'm not really thinking about those things. I'm thinking about the times that we spent in our den and talked about, whether we think that aliens really exist and life lessons that he taught me and the little gems that he dropped on me that might have been in the form of one little sentence that might have changed my life or my whole outlook on something. Do you know what I mean? It was the time spent where I felt like I was absorbing my parents' being, their personality, their life experiences that they were teaching me. Those are the things that meant something. It was the time. It was the affection. It was the hugs. I don't think about, when my dad, when I turned 18, my dad bought me a Movado watch.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I haven't even thought about that in 18 years until this moment. That didn't matter. It was those times that we sat and talked in the den and he would look at me and be like, "You're your daddy's daughter."
Right.
And me having a security about myself at my age now, knowing that I'm my daddy's daughter and my dad saw in me what he saw in himself. That's the type of thing that means something to me.
Correct.
So you can spend all the time in the world and throw them in the back seat and head out and do fun things. We do it. And I think that that's wonderful. I think that's part of being a parent, but it's the quality time that you spend. It's the fact that you need to listen. And I don't know that you don't. You probably do. I don't know. But listening to your children. I'm a grown woman. And if I'm having a conversation with my husband and I feel like he's not listening to me or he's not all the way plugged in, I'm upset.
Right.
And I'm grown. I can just, walk away from the conversation and have it with somebody else if I want. But it's when the person that you love, that you want the attention from, isn't giving it to you. That's like a form of rejection. And that sign of disinterest is damaging to a person, whether it be a husband, a wife, a friend, a parent, or a child. You want, even if I'm talking to Madison about something I'm interested in that's completely adult, that she has zero interest in. If I don't feel like she's 100% plugged in, I have a little bit of, so you just gonna act like you're not interested in what I'm saying.
Right.
And she'd be like, well, Bob, I don't really know that much about the topic, so I don't mean to come off that way. But as human beings, we want to be paid attention to by the people that we love. So if your daughter comes home and she has a story or something that happened in class, or maybe if she's watching something, a movie, and she thinks something's funny or interesting, whatever it is, when our kids try to speak to us, even if we are the least bit interested, we need to go and get the popcorn, sit down on the bed, crisscross applesauce, lean in, and be all ears.
Right.
And if you don't really feel that way, then you freaking fake it.
Right.
That is what you need to do deliberately. Like, you have to make it a point in your life to be that parent, because that is where you are going to see the rewards. That is what your kids are going to remember. That's where the fruits are. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that'll increase your bond, and that'll make your child not only want to communicate with you more, but in my opinion, it'll make them do things more to please you. Right. Like, I feel as though all of our kids, except Brookie, because she's only 2 and she don't give a bleep. But the other 4, I feel as though they always act and behave to please us. Right. And to be honest with you, can I be honest? Yeah. I feel as though you, as my husband, you act to please me. And me as your wife, I act to please you. Right. And I think that is because we are all happy and satisfied with the love and attention that we show each other. Right. So it's a form of reciprocity. If someone is giving to me and feeding me, it's only natural, and not in all situations, maybe that's for another podcast, but it's only natural, like if my love is true and pure, that I want to reciprocate and love and feed you back and nurture you back. Sidebar, I do think that when you do it too much and without certain forms of caution, you can encourage someone to take you for granted. So you have to make sure that it's a reciprocal type of thing. You have to make sure that as you're giving, you're receiving. If you're giving, and you're not receiving, then you're encouraging someone to not appreciate you and take you for granted. So that's, a different thing. But if it's a good situation and everybody involved is plugged in and just basking in all the love, then it's going to do nothing but provide something positive for you and the relationship that you're in. Absolutely. So with your daughter, I would say time, attention, and affection. Like, even with Logan's a busy bee. He's at school. He has practice every day after school. He's in, he eats, he plays some video games, he does his homework, he's back out. He's not back into the house till 9:30, 10 o'clock every night because his practice is hella far away. Right. And I find that we barely see him during the week. So I said to myself, when I see him, like, I'm going to tell him, get in my bed. We're going to watch this show for 30 minutes. We're going to cuddle. I play in his hair. I give him more kisses. I hug him more. I give him more compliments. Every time I see him, I'm like, hey, handsome. Like, I do things that are like cute in a sense to make him feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And I see it in his reaction. Like I'll be like, "Hey, handsome," and he'll look at me like, "Aw," you know, like
Right,
it
yeah.
makes him friggin' feel good. So even if it's not in our nature, because for a lot of us, it's not in our nature because maybe our parents weren't like that with us, but you got to step out of yourself. You got to step back and you have to look at your situation and be like, you know what? This is what I want to do. As unnatural as it may feel, I want to be sweeter to my kids.
Right.
I want to be more loving to my kids. I want to be more open with my kids. I want to make them feel that giddy feeling from time to time.
Absolutely.
So I think that if you do those things, then everything else will kind of pan out. Maybe that'll start to rectify her acting out in school. She said she's a single mom, right?
Yes.
Especially because she's coming from a one-parent household.
Right.
That comes with its own laundry list of problems and issues that may be created or
Right.
that may exist already at this point. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you have to be cautious and you have to, be proactive about those things and look out for those things like on the horizon because, it's not easy for single mothers, especially she's working as hard as she does. Her free time, she's trying to spend and do fun things with her daughter
With the kids, yeah.
and whatnot. In the car, talk to her.
Absolutely.
Now,
I have a little different thing. I would say this. And Gia and I recently just got into a thing about this the other day. I know it's very difficult when you're stressed out and when you work hard and you're tired. A lot of people don't necessarily understand it. And the reason I say that is because I explain this to Gia all the time and it doesn't make it right. But I work a lot. I don't sleep. I'm always on the move, always on the run, figuring things out, doing car shows and podcasts and the radio and parties and so much and not sleeping.
almost overly ambitious.
So when you get stressed out, the person that you take it out on is the person that's closest to you.
Yes.
Because that's the person you see all the time.
And that's the person that you can dish it out and they're going to forgive you and move on so you can get away with it.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So if I'm stressed out, I'm not going to take it out on my coworker,
Right.
because I don't want them to see that I am stressed out. Like we all are. So who do you take it out on? You take it out on the person closest to you. So for me, when I'm stressed out or I'm annoyed or I'm nagged and not necessarily stressed out, but if you work hard.
No, it's stressed out.
And then Gia could say, "Hey, babe, can you pick up that box?" I'm like, "I don't want to fucking pick up a box. I pick up boxes all day. Fuck. And Gia's like, "Oh."
Well, you don't do that,
I know, but Gia be like,
that's an extreme
"Okay,
example.
I'll pick up the box myself." But that's where it's at. So those.
But hold on, but here's the thing. The problem is you don't say any of that. That might be your internal dialogue, but for me, you'll just bend over and pick up the box.
Correct.
For instance. So I feel as though you internalize a lot of this stress because you're never disrespectful.
Right.
You internalize a lot of this stress and then at some point or another, the balloon has to pop. Like it
Correct.
has to manifest itself.
Right. But, and not saying that I say that, but I might be thinking that in my head. I ain't picking up this fucking box. But when it comes to our relationship, that's how we are. And you probably do that with your daughter because, like you said, you are a single mom and the person
Everything's on your back.
Everybody's on your back. Everything's on your back. So you take it out on her. So what I would advise you to do, and I'm going to start doing that, is kind of resetting yourself. When you get home or before you pick up your daughter, sit in the car for 60 seconds and just reset. Just pray. Or just say, you know what, just clear your mind of everything. Just close your eyes for 60 seconds and clear your mind. I'm going to start doing that. But so I don't take the stress that I get from the outside world into my house. I don't bring that energy into my home.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to do that. Even if I got to park in the garage for 60 seconds, I'm just going to close my eyes, woosah my ass, and then come in the house.
Yeah, we got into a big argument about this just days ago.
Right, but that's because I honestly was being, and not nasty, overly nasty, but I was being attitudinal and nasty a little bit to you
It was
and
kind
the
of overly
kids.
nasty.
It was, but
Hey, don't sugarcoat it now. It was kind of overly nasty.
But that's because, from the car show, I haven't really slept. You know, the car show was what, 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. And planning and getting that done and getting the cars back. And then still and we honestly did the car show ourselves.
Right.
We didn't have a team of people. We did everything from the rooter to the tutor. We put that shit together. So when it comes to that and not sleeping, then, planning Madison's party and Madison's birthday and making sure the cars were here and, traveling and doing everything that we had to do.
You did a lot of traveling.
And we're renovating the house and everything that's going on. You get home
and then all of the business in between, like all the meetings and the bit, like running, like all of that.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, you realize that you need to restart and to refresh, because if not, you're going to take that out on the person closest to you. And that's for everybody out there. That's if you're a wife or you're a girlfriend and you work a lot, you might have to just reset before you see a man, because you don't want to take that negative energy that you got throughout the day and bring it into that relationship, because that shit will fuck it up. And then y'all be arguing over, you won't even be knowing what you be arguing about.
And
you'll
then,
just be arguing just for arguing.
Then the stress is twofold.
Right.
Because you have the stress of what your life brings, the work and being overwhelmed in certain senses. Then you have a negative attitude that you bring into the home, and then everybody is throwing back a negative attitude towards you.
Right.
And it can turn into an argument like it did for us. It could turn into a blow up. And then that's more stress.
Correct.
So, they say precaution is better than cure, or prevention is better than cure.
Correct.
So if you prevent that, then you're going to give yourself the opportunity to eliminate that double stress that's going to be on you. Because when we do argue or when we don't see eye to eye, like, especially if you're a personality type, that's not good for you.
Correct.
That affects you.
Right.
That affects the work that you do, and it affects everything else. I'm going to give the flip side of that, because when you're in a relationship with somebody and they're going through something, regardless of what they're going through, you can pick out of a hat any problem, any issue, any situation. Ours is your stress load, in a sense. As the other person in the relationship, we can only understand as much as we can understand without being in the other person's shoes,
right? Without
experiencing it day to day to day. And we talk a lot about people taking things for granted and whatnot. And I even think that I'm guilty of that, because like I said, when you gave the example about the box, you don't say much. You just take a beating every day. Take a beating, take a beating, take a beating. You're tired, you're tired, you're tired. You're stressed, you're stressed, you're stressed. You don't sleep, you don't sleep, you don't sleep. And you don't really say anything. Most of the time, you come home, you're in happy spirits, and you're in people-pleasing mode. You're going to do whatever the kids need to get done. You're going to go to London's play. You're going to go to Logan's football game or his practice. You're going to come out with me because I got invited to a couple's dinner. You're going to do whatever needs to be done on top of the things that you already do. And you don't complain, you don't complain, you don't complain.
Right.
And when we don't complain, and complain isn't a good thing to do, but when we don't communicate what we're going through, and especially if we don't communicate it effectively, then in a sense, you encourage, like I was saying earlier, the people around you to take what you do for granted because they can't understand what you go through, because they're not out with you in the trenches experiencing what you're experiencing.
Right.
So for me personally, to not be in your shoes, it would literally take me being out with you for a 24-hour period to really understand it. And I mean, I've done that with you, and I could freaking barely hang.
Right.
I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know anybody that could hang with what you do for the duration of time that you do it. So I need to deliberately pay more attention to that. And I do a lot. But honestly, I don't do, even dealing with 5 kids and running a lot of the things that I have to run and dealing with our businesses and, the things that I'm responsible for, it doesn't compare to the things that you do and the toll that it takes on you. So I know that I deliberately have to like you say, you're going to take those 60 seconds to reset. I have to take the time to put those things in order and try to help you even more and make sure that you get your sleep and make sure that you take your vitamins and make sure that you get your naps and make sure that you have downtime and make sure that if there's anything that I can do to take off of your plate, that I do it. You know, all I'm saying this to say is we have to care for the people that we love. And sometimes just by design, it may not come naturally, but we have to take a step back and not be in that situation where it's kind of convoluted and it's day to day and it's monotonous and routine. You have to kind of step out of it and really look at it for what it is and figure out what you can do to make it better or to remedy the problems.
Absolutely. And I want to say I appreciate that because it's too, like you said, it's twofold. It's having the stress and dealing with the stress and making sure that it doesn't affect our relationship. It doesn't affect me as a father. It doesn't affect me as a husband. So I appreciate that. And back to Jillian, I just want to tell Jillian, hopefully that works. That 60-second reset will get you in a point where you can just be like, it's all that energy is out and now I can focus on what matters. And that's about it.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to tell you guys again, December 9th, if you're in the New Jersey area, we're doing another real estate seminar. So if you want to learn about real estate, you want to learn about flipping houses, you want to learn about everything, getting tenants, property management and all that. It's a great seminar. You're learning from somebody that owns 600 units in the New Jersey area. That's rentals, that is making a lot of money doing it. He came from nothing and figured it out on his own and he wants to give you game. Wants to give you gems. So hopefully you guys can make it to the next seminar. If you want more information, just hit up my bio in my Instagram and you can definitely check it out.
Yes.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving again to everybody out there. And we will see you guys. Thanksgiving. We'll see you guys on the next one. I'm DJ Envy.
And I'm Gia Casey.
And that was another edition of the KC Crew.
Toodles.
Thanks again to Poshmark for supporting today's episode of the KC Crew. Poshmark is the easiest way to buy and sell fashion items. Download the free Poshmark app to score amazing deals from tons of brands. If you're looking for cool stuff that is not that expensive, I'm talking name brand, Poshmark is the place for you. Today, you can get $5 off your first purchase when you enter the invite code KC Crew when you sign up. So definitely hit him up now.